table's in the shed.
Yeah, I think it is.
It is.
That's alright. Just get that drum for me.
This one.
Yeah, it'll work out okay. It'll be good.
I can't.
Oh, don't worry about that, it's too heavy.
It's full of cement.
Just grab that one.
Full of something. I'll just grab that drum for you. Just grab that drum for me, will you?
Okay. Look at that. Yeah. Well, is what it is. Beautiful out here tonight. Are you locking up? Are you locking up?
Changing this.
You putting the kettle on?
You want a cuppa?
Did you want one? Oh, don't worry about that. I'll make me own. That's fine, I'm kidding. A big step for you there, isn't it?
It is. Open that window. The trouble is you close it too early.
What window?
This one.
Oh, just close it when it gets dark.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's no point. It's getting dark soon.
What is the time?
7:30.
7:30 at night.
There's no point opening it.
So everyone has either gone to work or going to bed. Turn it round the other way for a little while if I can't stuff it up. Hello. How are you? Can't see the wife because she's just out of angle.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful evening. What have you been up to? Slack dinner tonight. We just had a pie and a sausage to one of them gates tomorrow and I'll go around the side.
Mm-hmm.
See if it's a good fit. We can paint that red.
Yeah.
It's flashing. Maybe there's not enough power for me to. Might be spinning or something. Never know with this damn thing. Never know. It got hot but it cooled down today, didn't it? Oh look, they just come on.
Oh, there you go.
Actually give a fair bit of light. Look at the light shadow.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Got some little gutter solar lights today. And up there, you can see that they're on, which is pretty cool. Solar. Might have to move them over a bit actually, because that one's under the eave a fair bit.
Yeah, it is, actually.
Might have to do that. I'll do that while I'm thinking about it, because I'll forget about it otherwise. When you say you're going to do something,
Yeah.
get round to it.
How are you going to do that?
I'm clever. We'll get some. We'll get a lot of. All this here
Yeah.
is the light. They need the sun to power them, so they'll get it there. Actually lights up the steps, which is good. Hello Tony. My little bit of solar for the day. See on top of the gutters up there? I don't think I can zoom in. Oh I can, look.
Yeah, just be careful. You did
There
that
we
once
go.
before and stuffed up the chat.
Sends off a fair bit of light just for going up the steps. We're going to put a normal light underneath there. With these little solar ones. That's my solar contribution for the week. Quite bright actually. Quite bright. So when we come home after a drunken night out, when I put the steps in of course, I have steps there. Ooh. Yeah, can I unzoom? I can. Haven't been able to zoom with this before.
Yeah, you have, but you stuffed up the chat.
It is my disabled biker. Come to the river, biker. Cast your net to the left. What shall you catch? Well, empty Coke bottles, Fanta, old condoms, but still, it will be fruitful. No, it is not I. I am not a god. Oh, it could be just fibbing, you know. It could be actually on Earth just giving you guys a bit of the run around. Actually, a couple of them would be handy when we rip that shed apart and need to put the new roof on. A couple of them either side, just so you're walking down at night, you'll see.
Yeah.
It's Biker Aussie. Hope you've all had a good day. I'm sure you've got a little bit of hot weather recently, haven't you? We've had it for 4 weeks. Yeah, it's a big, well, I suppose it's a big extension. It's got 3 big rooms, as in 2 big bedrooms and a office, but the open living area is quite big. It is 12 metres long, the open living area, which will be kitchen, dining, living, and then another 6 metres for the back patio. We've been doing, like I say, I actually built my first 2 homes, but I'm just too old now. I've been doing stuff, because we bought those old windows, lots of restoration. You may not remember, but down the bottom here, see where this old asbestos paneling is? Well, this was just all empty here. It was just showing, several layers of 4x2s. So I got all the old material that was ripped off out of the old kitchen, and I've just put it down to the bottom to make that match up. Looks much better. Yeah, but probably, I think in restoring those windows, it's been about 2, if you worked full time, it would be 2 weeks work we would have spent on them, easy. And we're not finished. A little bit of sanding to do to the French doors, and then I'm waiting for the Jarrah flooring to go down before I stick a stain on the doors, because I want to semi-match what the floor is. If you do the doors first and then the floor is too dark or too light, it'll look crap, so we've got to wait till the floor is laid. But they'll be waterproof in the 2 extra bathrooms. Monday, did you say?
I think so.
Monday. And then I don't think the guy's coming Monday to prime the wall, is it? The outside wall? What did the big fella say?
I can't remember.
Yeah, anyway, sometime this coming week the walls will be primed. And I think he said Friday he's back to help him texture coat. So by the end of the week, the outside of the house is going to look a lot different. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, to build a house, new house, is a lot quicker than adding a large extension to an old house. Lots of different levels, things you've got to fix up before everything matches. But it's what we wanted to do. It's funny because we drive past the house, we see as the old cottage, because there's a bit of a recess into the back side door here. You don't see the extension, so it looks like an old house. Hello Pixie, MB's here. Hope you have a great Christmas. -9 degrees, 15 Fahrenheit here in Maine. That's cold. That is cold. It's not cold here. We had about 100 today, but it's now dropped down really nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's about 25, 26. Summer nights are really cool, but I mean, other than this last month where daytime temperatures and nighttime temperatures were ridiculously high, it looks like it's kicking back into a bit of a normal pattern now, where it's about 100 during the day and about 70, 75 at night, so that's pretty cool. Good barbecue weathers at night time. I don't think Europe's been hit by any super cold weather lately, but we'll get cold. February, of course, is the really cold weather in the Northern Hemisphere, generally. I don't think you'll see much. It's getting a bit dark now. Oh, there's a bit of light left in the sky. There's those little solar lights I was just showing Tony before. the top of the gutter, so when we come home from a big night out, when the steps are in there, we'll be able to see and put the key in the door. Although we're actually putting another light underneath, an LED, hardwired. But that's enough light for night time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, all that wall is just plaster at the moment. It'll be primed like a paint it is, goes on it, and then a texture coat. So like I say, probably by the end of this week it's going to look very different. Oh, that seemed fairly mild, Pixie. 8 degrees is not too bad for winter. Are you going to carry the missus over the threshold when it's done? I will attempt to, but I will definitely need steps first. We've just got builder's steps over there at the moment. Sort of a lot of things have to be done before we put the steps in, like levelling, trimming around the house, paving. So, but it'll all come together. We've got probably half of the family coming here Christmas Eve, and then we're going off to another part of the family, catching up with other family and friends on Christmas Day. But we'll have a big one here next year, I think. You're all invited. Pixie, make your way down. It's only around the corner. Adam, you'll be fine. Mind you, it will be summer again next Christmas, so I don't know whether you guys would be willing to suffer through the 100-degree days. But we do have air conditioners. See, I suppose, I mean, it's true, 30 degrees is not hot for us. That's about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's okay. I'd take that every day. It's the 42s, 44s, 45s. That gets hot, particularly when it's days and days of it. There's no respite from the heat. Adam's having Chinese food and Netflix for Christmas. We've got Netflix. Will do, MB. She says to give you a big hug from her. She's
Take it
off.
easy. She fleets in and out. I haven't watched her videos lately.
She's got a couple of Christmas videos. You haven't seen them?
No, I haven't been on YouTube in nearly 2 months.
Because you've been busy.
Well, we have been busy, but just, I don't know.
And next year you'll see lots of Christmas lights because the wife likes that sort of thing. We can't do it here at the moment. I've got the Disney Channel for the grandkids.
And
You watch them on them.
just talking about getting the Disney. I don't know.
There's so many free-to-air kids channels though. When I was a kid, you only had one channel, the ABC. That was it. Now there's, I don't know, 70 channels. Plus we've got Netflix. We generally just watch series like Outlander, documentaries. But it's only about $9 a month, so it's pretty cheap. But we don't watch a lot of the television. Which I'm impressed with those lights.
Yeah.
It's just the right angle too. It has probably the key height.
Are they in there tight so the wind can't knock them down?
They're hooked into the gutter. picking up. I'll look for some boards for that corner tomorrow. I need to get some more screws, but not as long because I'll only be screwing into the timber.
You might need another one in that for the corner.
No, I'm just going to screw into the boards. It's only a little trim that's going on.
Oh, down there.
Yeah.
What about that corner down there?
Well, that's going to be hidden by papers.
Is that?
Yeah, the reason that board isn't there, to make sure no little doggy can dig down and get under the house. It's not for any other reason, because that's about the level of the paving, the top of that board.
Well, that air conditioner's going to have to be
You
disassembled.
too, Biker. Have a great Christmas if I don't see all of you.
Have a good one, Biker. That's the heater. Replace the heater instead of
Coil. That must be oil heater, I think he's talking about.
that corner here.
What's going to happen is the pavers will run alongside the edge of those slabs,
Yeah.
but be slightly lower, so no water can gather there. I don't know if I can see the light now. Not sure. Oh yeah. That light you can see on the doorway is coming from the solar lights, so that's pretty good. Be waiting next week for the report from Tony in regards to his solar energy and what he's getting put in. Yeah, I mean, necessity is the teacher, isn't it, Adam? When you think, no, I'm not going to pay someone $100 to do this, do it yourself. No, you build and repair computers. Used to be money in that. I don't think there's much money in these days because the price of a computer is usually cheaper than getting the damn one repaired. Lots of little repairs are pretty straightforward in a house, but like I say, if you pay a plumber or electrician, the hourly rate is about $70 to $80 an hour here for a plumber or electrician or a carpenter. That's what they ask for. If you don't pay them, they don't come. Yeah, I mean, these days, lots of people demand you have all these certificates. But there are plenty of handymen that don't have any certificates but can do just as good job as any tradesman. Yeah, actually, what I did read last year, sometime I was reading about old 4886s, old computers, and how people want to collect them. So if you ever come across old computers that are still functioning, have a look online. There's people that want to collect those sort of things. I think my first one was a 486, I think that's what it was called, with the green text, and certainly no Google. I still like the simplicity of the old Windows XP format. What was the other one? Was okay too.
The one?
Windows XP was good. What was the other one in that same era?
7?
No.
Oh, can't remember the name.
No. All right, I think we'll call it a night. From our solar powered house. It's the only lights that actually, other than that torch light you can see in the old kitchen, that's the only light out the back. Windows 98, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's it.
98 and XP, they were the only two that I thought were any damn good. I don't like Windows 10, so I haven't bought a new computer. I'm waiting for someone to say, let's go back to an old format that's simple. Hello Buttercup, we'll stay on for another 5 minutes because you're here.
Hi, Buttercup.
We're outside enjoying the cool air, which I'm sure you're not. Cool as in 26 degrees, but beautiful. Oh boy, it's getting windy.
And cold.
Well, relatively cold for us, but not cold. There's a fair bit of action happening with the house this week. Near the end of a build, things come together pretty quickly. Actually, trying to think on what video it is. Just scroll back into this text, Buttercup. Tony was here earlier, and see if you can see his name. If not, ask Adam to copy and paste it. That way you can go straight to his channel. It's just a very quick video he did showing his system with his Tesla battery. But if Adam can see it, if you can't, he can copy it and paste it for you. I can't because I'm on my phone. But yeah, I mean, that means he's basically autonomous for power now, which is good. Power bills are killer in Australia. That's why everyone's going to solar. Some people, busy households, $300 minimum every month. When you think a solar system is only about $5,000 to put on, 300 a month for a year is 3,600. So a year and a half into it, you pay for the system. Yeah, what backfeed is when power outages occur, Adam, and you've got a solar system and you're feeding back through the system. When repairmen are out on the road, they obviously don't, well, they have an isolator, which means that your power can't go back to the grid when there's a power failure. We have to have them here. So what they're saying is, no, you can't because, but what you can do is have a dual system. You can get someone to install you an off-grid system that's independent, and you can have your grid power as backup. It's a different thing. In other words, you're not feeding energy back through the grid. I'm sure you know what I mean. But what it means is that you have your solar power system with batteries, be it whatever battery you can afford, or batteries, and then you run your house on all the solar that you have. But because the power company doesn't have an isolator, it means if the linesmen are working on power lines, anyone with solar, their power is still going backwards, so they would get electrocuted. But in Australia, you need to have an isolator. In other words, when the power goes out here, you have to wait a couple of minutes, and then your power from your solar system kicks in, and it doesn't feed back to the system, so no one gets hurt. That's the only reason. Unfortunately, they found that out the bad way when linesmen were killed because there was a surge of house-top solar coming back through the system. If you think of electricity like water, and an electricity company produces X amount of volume of water, be electricity. And then when someone's producing electricity in their home and they're not using it, that goes into the pool as well. So most electrical companies now in Australia, they have a system where during the day when no one's home and they're getting lots of rooftop solar come back into the system, they reduce their output at the actual electricity company. So it sort of keeps a balance going. I don't think your rates are like ours. They're pretty savage in Australia. We pay about $4,000 a year in rates. There's two types of rates. So you never really own your home, because you've got to keep paying rates. Yeah, it's one of those things that, Buttercup, you can do gradually. Like you can install a simple setup, maybe a couple of 100 amps of a couple of batteries, and run a 12 or 24 volt system just to power all your lights. Yep, you'll probably need help for it to get installed, but I'm sure there are plenty of enthusiasts that would help you. And the best place to start is your back garden area, patio, where you can just have a very simple, smaller battery and lights that run off it. But I mean, these ones up there, as you can see, they're quite bright, and that's all the light shadow you can see there. Those two lights were $10. That's all they cost. And I do know, and I'm not kidding you, lights like that people leave outside during the daytime, and then they mount them inside at night. So simple. So you charge your nighttime battery outside during the day. I saw one, you know, like an old lamp, a tall lamp, where one guy just installed a little clip on the top of it, and he lights the lamp like it was normally, but it's solar power. Around 520 kilowatt average here. That's for the year, I guess. Noodle says, do you guys use 270, 480 volts? You really work in amperage. Volts, I mean, there are things like 12 volt, 48 volt, 240 volt. That's what Australia domestic power is. It's 220 to 240 volts. We don't run 270 or 480. Yeah, just little things like that, like those little, like you might have a fence you can hook. These are called gutter lights, 2 for $10, and they're very bright for what they are. And if you just, you know, go outside in the morning, clip onto a fence so the sun hits them, then take them inside and put them somewhere where you, like a reading lamp area.
Or just a night light.
Yeah, even just used as a night light. And then you can get a little bit more complicated by having a battery, an inverter, and running lighting through your home. I probably won't have to do a lot of that because the panels I'm putting on will power most of everything I need during the day. But at night time I might have a solar set up out the back for the alfresco and the barbecue area. Needle says we use 10, 12, 24, 120, 270 and 480 volts. Not sure how that application would work. Generally a 12 volt battery fully charged is about 14.4 volts in the United States. 10 volts wouldn't be applicable. There's no appliances that would work on 10. A 12 volt system wouldn't work on 10 volts. 24 is a good one for around the home, which means you just put batteries in series and parallel and you end up with two 12 volt batteries being 24 volts. And you can buy 24 volt lighting. And the LEDs these days are bright. They're like a 60 watt old incandescent light. You only need about a 13 LED watt globe and you get the same light. Yes, gold is a great investment, it really is. Not coins though. You've got to weigh up the consequences of what you're saying. If shit hits the fan, no one's interested in buying a 1738 Georgian coin. They are interested in gold, alluvial, in other words, small bars of 5 and 10 grams, or and silver. Most actuators use a 10-volt pulse. All right. Were you an electrician? No, I've been involved with solar for about 15 years. We ran a house completely off solar, probably for about 5-6 years before we moved east to look after my wife's mum. And now we're installing a bigger system. No, coins, I'll give you an example, Buttercup. If I've got a whole heap of pumpkins, I don't really want a 1798 Georgian gold coin. I want gold, and it's gram weight. Jewellery, coins.
Jewellery gets more than coins.
One of the places to look for gold is at those pawn shops. If you can buy a little calculating weight machine, which is not that expensive, you can pick up a piece of jewellery, you know what the carats is, you weigh it, and you know how much gold you have. No, everything's the price. Like I've always said to people, they say, well, I can't afford a big solar system. I said, okay, don't get a big one. Get a couple of solar lights, power them up during the day and put them in your room at night. You'd be surprised. You really will. Yeah, 1 ounce bullion coin you're paying a lot for though, Buttercup. Do you know what I mean? You're paying a lot. And plus, if you think about if things got tough, I probably only want 2 grams of gold for my big wagon full of food. It still is comparative monetization, if you know what I mean. Like, so if you got 1 ounce, I'd be saying, well, I'll have to give you a couple of cows for that. So smaller the better, even though it's a bit of...
But,
I'm talking weight.
yeah.
Yeah. Silver's a good one. Silver and gold. And we're talking about what it would ever be used for in times of crisis. Barter. And do you know one of the biggest ones, Buttercup? This sounds a bit strange, but if you, and you're in the right country for this, if you stored a large quantity of whiskey, and there was no whiskey around, imagine the value of that. So all the things that, and the world's gone through all these crises before, it's nothing new. Things like salt. Well, you can make salt. You just got to go to the ocean, get a big drum, boil it, and if you're clever, you'll distill the steam into fresh water, and you'll end up with salt left in the drum. Because you need salt for everything: preservation, taste, flavouring. It's a case of the basic necessities. Things that people would miss pretty much straight up would be things like the basics: bread, butter, milk. Those basic things are great, but you don't have to eat them. Sugar, you can get by without sugar. I don't have any sugar. But you're right, those basic things. And then you'll learn that sugar is useful in making jams. Batteries are limited in their lifespan. All batteries. There is no exception. Unless we build a nuclear battery, and that can go for quite a long time. But you just need to think about the basics. One of the things that we are coming up in the next couple of decades is a crisis over water. So a rainwater tank's not the worst idea. Imagine having 2,000 gallons of water on hand whenever you want it, when the water supply's been cut off for 3 months.
I'm getting cold.
Oh yeah, knowing how to cook. I've always believed some of the best cooks are also the best gardeners. They look at the transition from growing food to cooking it. Nails, could be anything. But it's if you think about, and I did this exercise with a young bloke years ago, I said, what I want you to do is write down all the things that if you couldn't get them today, you would want. And he came up with bread, milk, eggs. And I said, well, you can make bread just about out of anything. You really can. You just need grain seeds of some sort. And then you can make beer if you've got grain. If you're lucky enough to get some hops and barley. But the process of cooking and having good meals, usually the people that grow food, I don't know whether it's an appreciation of them growing it themselves and then transferring it onto the plate, but a good cook doesn't just happen. They understand food is what I'm saying. Flatbreads, yeah, you can make bread just about anything. Things that you would, no leavening, which is the most common bread in the world, by the way. I tell you, it's a lot shorter than that, Buttercup. If I said to you and Adam right now, the shops are closed and we don't know when they're going to open, well, you'd turn straight to your cupboard. You know you can't buy anything now. I've just said they're closed. And you'd be thinking, okay, well, we've got water still, the taps work, and I've got in the cupboard. Most people have got about 2.5 months worth of food in their fridge, freezer and cupboards. That's pretty much minimum. In other words, you would make do with what you have. Then if you're smart, let's say you've got a whole heap of pasta in your cupboard, but up the road you know there's a guy that's got a huge amount of tomatoes growing. Well, we'd do a little bit of a talk, a bit of a chin wag and say, look, how about I'll give you 4 packets of pasta and can I have some tomatoes each week for the next few months? He'd probably say, yeah, good idea. It's the transfer of wealth. Doesn't mean it has to be money. And we would barter like hell, trust me. But things like money are pointless if the shops are closed. It's worthless. Someone knocks on your door and says, I've got $1,000, can I have whatever's in your cupboard? You say, well, no. What's in my cupboard is worth something to me. The money is not. Do you want me to pass these chairs up to you? She's gone wandering. Boss lady, I'm passing the chairs up. Still thinks she didn't hear me. Back out into the darkness. So yeah, Buttercup, what you can see there, all this light, all that light there, it's coming from those solar lights. Okay, so they're very bright.
Do you need a hand up?
No, I'm just going to put this bucket down and move the stool away. Do you want to put this inside?
Oh yeah.
So you can see my hand. You can see you could read by it easily. And these will charge up during the day. Like I say, 15 years ago these things didn't exist. Not for this price anyway. So you could certainly have a couple of those on your fence in the morning and afternoon. Bring them inside, clip them to something on the wall or an old lamp. But there's no other light on except these solar ones. And this is a torchlight. You can see it's not as bright in here as the solar light. A lot of these things don't have screws. The gutter ones, they're called gutter solar lights. They have like a little thumb screw that goes through 2 holes. And you can either attach it to a fence and then push the thumb screw in, or you can screw it into a fence, but if you're going to take it inside and out, you just clip it over the fence. You just need to charge the battery, that's all you're doing. These two were 2 for $10. And for what light they give off, as you can see out there, that's the solar light. This is the battery light. Not hard to work out which is more powerful. And I didn't charge those, they were straight out of the box. So they will go down tonight and then the sun will recharge them fully. And So for $10, you can certainly read one. There's no question you could read a book. Oops. I pressed a button. I don't know what I did. But they're everywhere. You just have to go online. Just go online and put gutter clip solar lights, and you'll see they're not expensive. These were just bought from a cheap shop that sells knickknacks and paddywhacks and lots of solar things. But you can imagine coming home, driving into the back, and just with those solar lights on, I can see everything. I will be able to get up the back stairs, no problem, for $10. Will they last forever? No. Probably a few years, I guess, if we're lucky. But that's $10 for a few years. It's not too bad. Yeah, you can get lots of different solar lights. You get specific shed lights where there's a little panel that you put on top of the shed. The solar light sits near the door of your shed or in your shed. Are you staying out here? Are you staying? Alright, we'll call it quits. Alright guys, we're going to go in and relax and go to bed. Good catching up with your people. And yeah, just like I say, just Google gutter solar lights. You'll see how they clip over, and you can clip them over a fence or even just on a railing. As long as you can get some sun on them during the day, they'll be good to go at night. Alright, till next time, be safe, and we'll catch you next time. Bye bye.